Hello, this is Belen, and I will be doing Smartest Kids in the World and How I Got That Way, the second half of Chapter 2. So, why? So, I think we need to understand why through the target audience. So, Amanda Ripley's target audience seems to be directed towards, I would say, more, like, white women who have a lot more leisure time, such as, housewives or something like that, and students who are interested in foreign exchange programs and kind of like how to fundraise that money. However, my target audience will be Psyche K fans, since the disastrous life of Psyche K, since I feel like I can connect that a lot with how Amanda Ripley's audience. So basically, Psyche starts off being really successful in taking the SAT or using his telepathy to ace his test, but he purposefully failed some of the questions just enough to score higher than the average because he's a literal genius and he has all these kinds of powers. He then decided to use his imagery powers and imagine himself in all these countries he has no knowledge on, and eventually he stumbles upon Egypt at first. But his mother said, "Your best buddy went out of his way to ask you in person. You're going to the beach, Kuso." "Oh dear," he said as he forced himself into Finland now. He wrote a report on why he should go, or rather just used one of his powers that I keep forgetting. So the essay can write itself, and he would report the money if his mom said yes. So once he was actually accepted, probably by using his manipulative powers, he began to report money from a shoe all the way to a check, and from a check to getting scholarships, since he can do that, since that's basically his power of report. However, his town was too far away to actually have someone interview him. It was just too small, or rather insignificant. A while later, his grandparents didn't know about his powers yet, but still gave him money to fund his trip, since, he loves his obachan, or you could say his grandma. Once he met with the representative, 3 hours, by the way, of full-on driving when Psyche could have just teleported. All he wanted to do was relax through his yada yada and eat coffee jelly, but the representative said, "You seem anxious," which of course he wasn't, because he can read minds. He has telepathy. In the second half of the chapter, this part really helps us understand how Psyche, or rather, actually, who the person was we were representing Kim with, who was the girl who went to Finland. Psyche was able to fundraise his money for Finland, but the coffee jelly of the section, or the stake, or the really most important part, is that there were no representative associations near Psyche. This really explains to us how the town is could either tell us that it's academically low achieving, and because of that, no representatives can be considered worthy of having a station there. The chapter also really explains to us how Psyche commits to this when he could have just teleported to Finland. I don't know what else to say. He can teleport. Now, besides that, now it is time to really think about how we should support smaller towns of our community, and adding on to that, I ask you, is that would your family do the same? Would your family do the same, or would families from your certain ethnic group do the same as what Psyche's mama did? Or are there other factors to consider as well? And with that, I'll leave it as it is, and thank you for your undivided attention.